Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to MCJ Report number 193. I hope that everyone is having a lovely Sunday and, of course, a very, very happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers out there. Hopefully, your children have done something good for you. I'd like to welcome everybody to the broadcast. I see a lot of my regular viewers there in the chat mixing it up down there, so thank you very much for being here. And if you are tuned in for the first time, you're watching MCJ Report. I'm your host, should I say, Morgan Charles Jonas. So why don't you go ahead and share the broadcast. Get the word out there, ladies and gentlemen, because of course it is the great audience out there in the world of social media and Rumble that propels this show forward. And let me just add that I sure do appreciate that. We've got some pretty interesting things to talk about on the show this evening. We see, of course, down here in Victoria, the drama does not end with the Victorian Liberal Party. John Pesutto kicking yet again another own goal, that's right. It's almost as if he's been put there on purpose to destroy whatever was left of the Liberal Party. I can tell you that there are thousands of Liberal members out there and Liberal voters who have lost complete faith in the Liberal Party. So we're going to have a bit of a talk about that, where it's all heading, and what the future of the Liberal Party looks like in Victoria, which I think is sinking faster than the Titanic without any shadow of a doubt. The good news is that there happens to be a party called Freedom Party of Victoria. That's right, that I say is the true opposition to the repressive Daniel Andrews Labor government, and we're not going anywhere. We're a unified force. We're not out to bully anyone. You know, John Pesutto, I would describe him as a little man with a big ego that seems to get a bit of a kick out of bullying women in the workplace. But it's not going to last forever. For whatever reason, John found himself with a leadership cap on. I look at the man, I don't see anything that resembles a leader. I think it's disgraceful the way that he's treated his colleagues, these young women in Parliament, who I say are doing a tremendous job, who I say are actually the best thing to have happened to the Victorian Liberal Party in so many years. I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? The Liberal Party gets some good candidates elected, and you've got this little angry man, John Pesutto, who would not survive a day in the wild, coming out and seeking to undo the progress of which the party has made. It really beggars belief, but I suppose what it really illustrates to me is that the Liberal Party is just, it is so far past its use-by date. I mean, who are these guys? Are they just relaxing at the country club on the weekends, or maybe a yacht club? And it's just like a sort of, seems like a bit of an elitist little group of dudes, and I don't think it's appealing. I don't think that the at least the parliamentary wing of the Liberal Party has any capability of connecting with, identifying with regular members of the public, regular working class people. And it's just another own goal. It's just, you have to think to yourself, the Liberals have, 30% of the vote just sitting there, people who are traditional lifelong Liberal voters who are going to vote Liberal either way. So if it's a ship that can be salvaged, as in if it's possible to steer the ship away from the impending iceberg, I'd say that would definitely be a great thing to do. Of course, we'd love to see more people elected to the likes of Moira Deeming and Renee Heath, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. You know, we see a few beacons of light throughout the country, such as Alex Antic, Gerard Rennick, who is an absolute superstar and who I say sets a standard that all members of Parliament should follow. We're very, very happy and proud to have Gerard Rennick on MCJ Report just the other week. But I think really what this shows is that Australia is just ready for a political alternative, especially here in Victoria. I'd say that Victorians are ready for a real political fighting force to take it to the Daniel Andrews Labor government that is not going to pander. Okay, you see, I mean, it's just absolutely pathetic, isn't it? You've got this guy, John Pesutto, who will make these defamatory remarks about Moira Deeming, conflating her with neo-Nazis. And Moira Deeming, if you're listening, my advice to you is you should absolutely sue John Pesutto for every last miserable dollar the man has in his bank account. What he's done to you is absolutely disgraceful, throwing you in with these people and inflicting this severe damage upon your reputation. And makes you wonder, where is it all heading? Well, I just see the primary vote of both the Liberal and the Labor Party will continue to decline. And as it does, Victorians will be looking for a new political home, which, of course, here's the good news. Freedom Party of Victoria is not going anywhere. We've got a lot to talk about on the show tonight. We have a new deputy leader in Freedom Party of Victoria. We have meetings getting drummed up left, right and centre across all corners of Victoria. We're not slowing down. We're getting our ducks in a row. We're not fighting. We're unified. No one in Freedom Party is being punished for holding conservative views. No one is being punished for standing up for children. In fact, we're proud of it. We proudly stand up for children. And we have no bones about expressing our disgust and our disdain for this, for the proliferation of what's referred to as these drag queen story time sessions for kids. That's right. We're very, very unified on this front. We say no, let kids be kids. And if adults want to do these sort of things behind closed doors, then have fun, go and do it, but leave the kids out of it. We say that we want children to be kids and they need to learn about the basics in life, mathematics, and there's absolutely no need for these performances to be in front of children. I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's a form of grooming, it's exploitation, and some of the characters that seek to conduct these performances in front of children, I'd be very, very wary of what their true intentions are. And parents should be asking themselves the question, why do these people seek access to children? Okay, this is a question that every single parent should ask before just jumping on the quote latest thing. So what do you think about that, ladies and gentlemen? Isn't it absolutely unbelievable? I tell you what, in Russia they don't have this problem. In China they don't have this problem. In Hungary they don't have this problem. In Poland, in Czech Republic they don't have this problem. But as you start moving west from Germany, the countries west of Germany, I mean, the West is in the gutter. I don't mean to laugh. It's more of a laugh of disbelief. How did the West get this far down the gutter that we need renegades to rise up, such as, of course, Freedom Party of Victoria, to shake up these politicians? And with John Pesutto and everything that this very little man jumps up and down about, how come he's never condemned the grooming? You know, how come he's never condemned local councils for misappropriating taxpayer money on these events that should never be in front of children in the first place? Why has he never done that? Well, you'd have to think that his silence shows that he supports those particular causes, which means that probably John Pesutto has a lot more in common with Dan Andrews than any regular person, as in, you know, us members of the public. But anyway, that's speculation, and I guess that's why you tune into MCJ Report, because you seem, for better or worse, you seem to find what I say of interest, and I sure do appreciate that. But anyway, if you're tuned in for the first time, you're watching MCJ Report, I'm your host, Morgan Charles Jonas. Do me a favor, like and subscribe. Make sure that you turn on the notifications icon so that you are made aware every time I go live. I run the show 8 p.m. every single Sunday night. That's Australian Eastern Standard Time. And if you could do me a favor at home, go ahead and share the broadcast. Share it out far and wide, because here in the world of social media, the algorithms don't tend to particularly favor people like me, people that hold the sort of political opinions that I do. So it is up to you, the loyal and trustworthy MCJ supporters, of whom I love very much, of course. Share the broadcast, get it out there, tell your friends, tell your family. You're watching MCJ Report 193, which brings me to an interesting little point, and that is that, guess what? I've got good news. For MCJ Report 200, we will broadcast the show with a live audience. That's right. This has been a vision of mine ever since starting MCJ Report. And I got started with this show years ago, actually, before COVID, and then took a break and got started after COVID. So MCJ Report 200, the team are currently looking at different venues where we can hold the show. I'm looking to have some guests appear live in person. There'll be a stage, there'll be lights, and we'll do our best to put on a grand performance. So if you would like to be kept in the loop for tickets and ticket sales, then make sure you go to www.mcjreport.com, subscribe for the email notifications, and you'll be made aware as soon as this gets underway. But I'm really excited. You know, this has always been something that I wanted to do from the very beginning since starting MCJ Report. And if you could be a part of it, then for sure that would be something very monumental and special. Alrighty, so we may as well get started with the content of the show. What do you reckon, ladies and gentlemen? Where are we? Alrighty, so first of all, if you'd like to support the show, you can become an MCJ member. That's right, from just $5 per month, you can support the show, and being a member, you will be invited to members' meetings, receive the members-only emails, and there's a whole bunch of benefits. And of course, you are supporting your favorite Australian freedom-fighting individual. That's right. I'll just say that I'm your favorite, even though I might not be. How about that? So, to sign up, just go to mcjreport.com/memberships, and it is indeed the MCJ members that keep this show alive. That's right. So, if you'd like for me to be able to further focus on my work and to do more in this space, both MCJ Report and of course heading up Freedom Party of Victoria, then go ahead, become a member, allow me to do what I do so that we can all proceed forward together and continue our march towards the enemy, because that's what it's all about, right? A fighter without a battle is, well, pretty useless. So we need to keep battling, ladies and gentlemen. So head on over to mcjreport.com, click on the membership tab, and become a member today. Alrighty, so protest, protest, protest. Never back down, never surrender, never say die, never remain silent when children are being exploited, especially when the exploitation is sanctioned by the state. So what we have here is a drag queen story time with an individual called Frock Hudson, and this is for kids, right, at Eltham Library, Wednesday, 17th of May at 12 p.m. All right, so my very strong encouragement to my fellow Victorians is to show up with signs, show up with megaphones, show up to execute your democratic right that you have as an Australian. If you believe that drag time stories, or whatever they call it, should not be in front of children, and if you can make it down, then you must go down and indeed express your opposition. As they say, evil only exists when good people do nothing. And doing nothing is not an option, ladies and gentlemen. This must be stopped by any means necessary. Get in touch with Eltham Library. Send them a message, send them an email, show up and protest. I can't stress how important this is. The good people of Victoria have actually had many, many victories shutting down these events. And I dare say that we will require many victories further. So head on down to protest, all right? Don't be shy, don't be scared, don't worry. Never allow fear to stop you from doing the right thing. A wise person once said, and maybe you can reference the name of this person in the comments, that the only thing to fear is fear itself, or something to that effect. So don't be scared. You only live one life, and a life without standing up for what's right, even when there's risk involved, in my opinion, is a life clearly not worth living. So Wednesday, the 17th of May, 12 p.m, Eltham Library. Shut it down. And there's another one. And by the way, these events are obviously popping up all over the place. Send them to my Facebook page. You can private message my Facebook page, and I'll put them out on social media so that people can be made aware of the protest destinations. Just send it through to my social media page, Morgan C. Jonas, or you can shoot an email to admin@mcjreport.com, and we'll make sure that we get it all out. But here we go. Look at this. You got the Mornington Shire Council putting on a Pride formal free entry for those aged between 10 and 17 years old. Why is the Mornington Shire Council putting on an LGBT event for children and trying to solicit entry for kids between the age of 10 and 17? There's been a range of studies done in recent times, and what we see without any doubt is that very, very large numbers of children with every generation are now identifying as either a different gender or having, some sort of, let's call it a nuanced sexual preference. And the question needs to be asked, is this happening because society has created a safer space for people to come out, or is it the result of institutionalized brainwashing? All right, there's really no other way to say it. I have friends of mine, they're working in the capacity of relief teaching, and they tell me that all throughout Victorian schools, the indoctrination is so deeply embedded in the education system that in some schools, half the children are walking around literally in a zombie-like state. They don't know what gender they are. They don't know whether or not they're a human. They don't understand basics, right from wrong. You've got teachers with spiky blue hair, dressed up in very bizarre costumes, also very confused. And there's a real state of desperation out there, and I say it's because we've lost our sense of identity in this country. And what's wrong with just being a good old-fashioned Australian man or woman? I say that's great. I say that it's simple, and I say that it works. All right, now good news. If you live in the western suburbs of Melbourne, I, on behalf of Freedom Party of Victoria, invite you to a Western Metro branch meeting. You can head on over there and see what we're all about. You can sign up as a member. You can roll your sleeves up. You can get involved in the fight. So moving forward, and very proud to be joined by Damien Richardson and the Freedom Party management member, Greg Cheeseman, taking place on Monday the 15th, Monday the 22nd. I believe it's Monday the 22nd. The date has changed. Yeah. Monday the 22nd, 7 p.m. onwards at the Water Gardens Hotel. So make sure that you head on down, support the cause, get involved. We need as many good men and women as possible contributing towards the cause of freedom, so that we can serve as a true fighting force in order to oppose the Daniel Andrews Labor government, because of course we don't have opposition in this state. John Pesutto he's not opposing anything. I'd say that he's a collaborator, all right? Anyway, moving along here. Let me just make sure that we are connected. I can see Facebook ticking along. I see YouTube. I see the regular crowd on Rumble. So if you've just tuned in, you're watching MCJ Report. I'm your host, Morgan Charles Jonas. Give the video a like. Give it a thumbs up. That very much helps with the algorithm. Make sure you like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. Get it out there, because we will say things that you won't necessarily hear on Channel 7. That's right. Anyway, moving along here. And I really hate to go back to this, but there's just so much of it. Woodley School in Langwarrin to host drag queen story time for kids. So, very badly designed poster. I mean, take what the actual content of the event is about. This is very difficult to read. So they're definitely not helping their cause with this really terrible graphic design. Thursday, 18th of March, they're having, some sort of LGBT promotion day at Woodley School in Langwarrin. So again, if you're in the Langwarrin area, then I suggest that you contact the Woodley School, express your views. Don't be shy. Go down and protest, because this really is going to require a very significant effort of the people to shut these events down once and for all. And, we don't want this to become the norm in our society. Whilst our children are being indoctrinated, children in China are learning to assemble Glocks. They're learning how to shoot. And if that's an indication of what's in store for the future, then God help us. All right, what do we have next? This is the person, by the way. This is one of the main people conducting these drag performances in front of children. Frock Hudson. And that's a picture of Frog right there. Frog or Frock, I don't know, getting injected, right, with the COVID-19 vaccine. The injection whereby all the politicians told us that it was safe and effective. How did that turn out in the end? All right, moving along here. This is what it is. This IDA Hobbit, something about LGBT inclusion, just rolling out everywhere in the schools, state sanctioned, backed by the government funding. I mean, is this really about inclusion and diversity, or is there another agenda at hand, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, come on. This is pretty see-through if you ask me. And I think that the vast majority of Victorians and Australians would agree that they don't want this type of content in front of children. It's just that a lot of people are apathetic to the point whereby they won't speak up, I suppose, out of fear of judgment from their peers, from their friends. But the full-time buzzer has gone, okay? If there was ever a time where maybe you could keep quiet, that was in the past. So we need as many people as possible, because, it boggles the mind to think what the future will look like. What will our military look like? What will our institutions look like? What will our manufacturing look like? This is just, it's too much. It's too much. This isn't the 80s where people with different sexual preferences were seeked out and beaten. Nobody supports that. And that's not what we're saying here. No one cares what two consenting adults do behind closed doors. It's not about that, but it's just everywhere now. You can't go down to the shops. You have to worry about what your children are being taught in schools. You worry about how the government, local, state, and federal, are spending your taxpayer dollars. You purchase private services like an airplane ticket. And this stuff is just absolutely everywhere. A lot of symbolism. They use the flag. They use symbols to send messaging to reinforce this this lifestyle, this ideology. But it's really more than a lifestyle. See, when I see the flag, I don't necessarily think about, and I'm talking about the LGBT flag, I don't necessarily think about LGBT people. It's like a whole new ideology. It's almost like trying to create some sort of new dogma for people to follow. Whether it's LGBT, what else is in there? There's climate change, there's vaccination, and I think that we need to do something. So what do? You join people who are doing something. You head to freedomparty.net.au, join the fight, and let's have fun setting the record straight. All right, moving along here. One of you messaged me on social media and asked me to speak about this, so I'll give my thoughts. Countries begin negotiations on global agreement to protect world from future pandemic emergencies. Alrighty, so of course what we saw emerge from COVID-19 was a multi-billion-dollar COVID-19 industry where the world's biggest players all rolled up their sleeves, got involved, and profited to the likes of which they had never ever seen before. So one has to ask the question, when a certain company or industry is able to strike a massive bull run, what might they want to do in the future? They might want another bull run. So in relation to the so-called WHO Treaty, it's not dead. It hasn't been discarded. The members and representatives that attend the World Health Organization are indeed in discussions about, I suppose, global policy that is designed to harmonize pandemic preparedness and response across all of the 194 member states of the World Health Organization. So what exactly does that look like? Okay, so the World Health Organization also serves as, I suppose, a health policy think tank. All right, I'm going to use inverted commas. A global health policy advisory committee. And once decisions and judgments have been formulated from the members of the World Health Organization, you can expect for those decisions to be reflected in legislation here at home, both at a state level and also on a federal level, not just in Australia, but of course the 194 member states. Of course, this is very problematic because when it comes to pandemics, I don't think there is a one-size-fits-all solution. Of course, what we learned from COVID is the extreme capacity that governments have to act on a whim, to act on nothing more than pseudoscience at best, with the result being the sudden removal of human rights and the arbitrary implementation of laws that one would only expect to see in a dictatorship. And that's exactly what happened here, of course, in Australia. So I'd say that it's quite concerning. I'm not sure if there's necessarily anything anyone can do to stop the bringing about of this particular treaty. But what can be done at a local level, of course, is to support reasonable people who are seeking to get involved in politics that can vote against legislation when it is drafted and introduced into Parliament at either a state or federal level. And I'm referring to legislation that reflects the policy formulated, cooked up, in this instance, via the World Health Organization. So when people ask, Morgan, what can we do? I always pretty much come back to the same answer. You go to freedomparty.net.au, you become a member, you get involved, you roll up your sleeves, and you do your bit to promote the election of as many good, decent, patriotic people into Parliament as possible. And that's the only way it's going to happen, all right? If you're sitting at home thinking, I'll just wait for the revolution, I'll just wait for the Civil War, that's not going to happen, all right? It's not going to happen. You know, this isn't, like a country such as East Timor. This isn't Myanmar. We don't have a rebel force that is going to come and take on the government. No. Democracy is the last beacon of hope for Australia. And the democracy that we have, it is compromised, but it is not broken beyond repair. Alrighty. Let's talk about the Victorian Liberal Party. Expelled Victorian MP vows to stay in the Liberal Party. I really do respect this coming from Moira. And some people might be thinking, well, why doesn't she just quit? The party completely screwed her over. Why would you want to stay with the party like that? Well, where she's coming from is she's saying she did nothing wrong. I believe she did nothing wrong. And many people, thousands, probably tens of thousands of people also believe she did nothing wrong. So why should she have to leave when she has allies? And you need to also keep in mind that what we have, of course, in the Liberal Party, just like any organisation just like any large organisation, but of course, you really can't describe the Victorian Liberal Party as a large organisation. They're really dwindling away. But we have a scenario where there's good people, there's bad people, there's people on power trips. You've got some little guys with big egos in there just trying to bully their way through. So why should Moira be bullied out of leaving the party of her choice? When you consider the founding documents of the Liberal Party, they're pretty good. It's all about personal freedom, limited government, very pro-business, and it's very, very difficult to argue with. But of course, over the years, we see the party has definitely lost its way, and the vision of Menzies has become nothing but a faded memory, I'd say, for most people in the Liberal Party, when characters like John Pesutto are more concerned about cozying up to Daniel Andrews than actually backing his own colleagues. That's right. So I can understand where she's coming from. I certainly do not blame her for making that decision. And of course, this came about when the suggestion of legal action was raised. Now, if you ask me, I'd say that Moira has a great case against John Pesutto. Without any doubt, there is a strong argument to firmly suggest that John has indeed defamed and damaged the reputation of Moira Deeming by conflating Moira with neo-Nazis and uttering these words in the same sentence. John has thrown her under the bus, and as a result of it, Moira has been on the receiving end of many attacks, both online, threats, and even in person. This is the very definition of a character assassination. And if I was Moira Deeming, I would attempt to sue John Pesutto for every single last penny that he has in his pocket. And she would be right to do so. John, being the leader of the so-called opposition party, that doesn't give him the right to defame people. It doesn't give him the right to attempt character assassinations over people. And being a member of parliament does not make somebody immune to the law, although John Pesutto would probably argue that, because he is a very, very entitled individual who, seems to think that it's okay to bully his way through parliament, and it kind of makes you wonder what this man would be doing with his life if he wasn't a politician. I think he'd probably get eaten alive in the private sector. I'd like to see John Pesutto try these bully tactics on another male. I don't think that he would, and I think that really says a lot. But, all the respect in the world to Moira Deeming. She's stood her ground. It must be extremely difficult to deal with. She's doing a phenomenal job. Of course, we all support her a lot, and you hate to see this happen, and your heart really does go out to her, because the nastiness, the absolute nastiness in the Victorian Liberal Party is disgusting. So moving along here, so she was expelled. The vote was 19-11. All right, so pretty divided there. John Pesutto able to muscle up some support from people such as Wayne Farnham from Narrabeen, newly elected to Parliament. And it kind of makes you wonder, the Liberals who did vote to expel Moira, why did they do so? There is such a clear case for defamation. All people have the right to spearhead legal proceedings in the event that they are wrong, in the event that their rights have been infringed upon by another person. And it makes you wonder if the other members have been maybe enticed to support this motion. I wonder what Wayne from Narrackan, I wonder what the conversation would have been like between Wayne from Narrackan and John Pesutto. I guess we'll never really know the answer to that question, but it's very disturbing to see 19 to 11, but good on the 11 Liberal members that said, no, we're not going to support this, and John Pesutto can go and do something else. All right, let's just say that. I was going to say something else. I was going to say he can go, something else, but let's keep it family friendly for MCJ Report, at least for now. We'll see what happens. It goes on to say her ally, Upper House MP Renee Heath, who accused Pesutto of bullying last week, was also stripped of her party secretary position in a separate motion. Right, so John Pesutto actually accused Renee of leaking minutes to Peter Credlin on Sky News. Peter denying that allegation. And, so John Pesutto, again, without any evidence, just throwing a young lady, another Conservative, under the bus, just like he did Moira Deeming. And we really do start to see a pattern with this guy. Renee being stripped from her role as secretary in the Parliament, in the Victorian Liberal Parliament, after colleagues expressed loss of confidence without any evidence to suggest that she did the wrong thing. What this is, without any doubt, is a textbook case of workplace bullying by this guy, John, this little man with a big ego that is trying to, push his weight around because, I don't see any way out of this. I really don't. Unless there's real opposition force, and I believe Freedom Party is that opposition force. This is the caliber of opposition we have to Dan Andrews. It's not even opposition. It's actually beyond a joke. And to be honest with you, I'm sick of talking about it. I think Victorians don't look at this man as a leader. They don't look at him as a solution. They don't look at him as somebody that could ever lead government. So all you Liberal members out there who are at home not knowing what to do, feeling frustrated, look, let's just be honest, okay? Let's be completely honest. You got two options. Option number one, you dig your heels in and you try and revive the Liberal Party. You run around like a headless chook trying to round up members, convincing them that they should go and join branches. You try to get numbers, right? You try to get good people pre-selected, etc. Or you pull the pin and you say, you know what? The ship's sinking. I'm not going to be around for it. The Liberal Party left you, all right? You didn't leave the Liberal Party. You, the Liberal member, you are good. You hold the values of Menzies. You embody the founding documents. This is just what happens. Mark Latham, look at Mark. He was leader of the opposition in the Labor Party, and he'll publicly declare that it was the Labor Party that left him, not the other way around. And that's just life. That happens sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't want to stay on a train that has become so perverted and compromised, because that train is heading one way and it's nowhere good. So freedomparty.net.au, get on over, become a member, and don't let the system get you down. Alrighty, now let me just make sure that we're all connected here. I see Rumble is ticking along. Okay. I see Facebook is ticking along. I can see a bunch of you in the chat. How you going, everyone? Look at all these nice people. We've got Australia saying, Australia, love it or leave. Yeah, if you hate Australia, then why are you here? I agree with that. Why not? We love our country, and I'm proud to call myself an Australian patriot. I love our flag. I love our environment. I love our culture, our traditions, and I don't feel one bit bad about that. So, You know, put that in your pipe and smoke it to anyone who is hating on Australia or wanting to cancel Anzac Day. No, be proud. And my advice to you, right, whenever you hear somebody hating on Australia or claiming that Australia is unfair or a racist country, be brave and say no. I love Australia. I love being Australian. This is my country. This is our country. All of us together, and let's go and do something good. Never ever be scared to express your love for your country, okay? Because it's it is something to be proud about. There's Steve there. There's Patrick. How you going? Great to see you. Judy B. How you going? Judy says that the LNP shot themselves in the foot. Oh, exactly right. There's Forge. How you going? Yep. Vicky Dudurian. Yes, our heart goes out to Vicky. Of course, an unfavorable court outcome. Jump on Heart for Vicky Facebook page for updates. So go and follow Vicky. Heart for Vicky on Facebook for updates. And here at MCJ Report, myself, Morgan Charles Jonas, pledge my full support to you, Vicky. So whatever I can do through my platform, through my networks, I will do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. If an overseas trip is required, then we'll raise the money to do that too. Jane says there's every Saturday the rallies are happening. Yeah, it's true. It is true, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? In the meantime, if you want to support the show, you could always go and grab some MCJ merch. And there's some trolls in the comments. I'm going to try and block some of these people. Just going to put the shop in the description for you. Take this as a little commercial break. How about that? Little commercial break for MCJ Report. I just put it in there so you can go and, if you want to grab a t-shirt, a coffee mug. The coffee mugs are pretty cool. And if you happen to live along the southeastern suburbs or the peninsula, then I might deliver it to you myself. You might be getting a knock on your door from, I will presume, your favorite freedom-fighting Australian, all right? I will make that presumption. Anyway, let's keep this ticking along, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Got some good news. Freedom Party news. Leonie Blackwell appointed to Deputy Leader of Freedom Party of Victoria. That's right. Of course, you will remember the former Deputy Leader, Aidan McClendon, who has resigned. And of course, we thank Aidan so much for his relentless hard work and the contributions that he made to the party. He put his mind, body, and soul into Freedom Party. Last year, specifically, running in the election, serving as deputy leader. I can say that I learnt so much from Aidan, politically speaking, and he was a wrecking ball in Mulgrave. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. So Aidan, a big, big thank you to you and what you've done for Freedom Party, and I know that I speak on behalf of so many of our members. So, ladies and gentlemen, a new chapter opens. That's right. Welcome to Leonie Blackwell. Leonie ran in the district of Narrabeen, and she achieved the second highest primary vote in Freedom Party of Victoria, 6%, which is absolutely massive for running in a first-time election with a brand new party. Leonie has demonstrated unbelievably strong leadership, strong community presence, and I can tell you as leader of the party, I could not be happier to have Leonie appointed to this position. We released a presser the other day. I'm going to read it to you. All right, so this was released today, actually, for immediate release. Leonie Blackwell appointed as Deputy Leader of the Freedom Party of Victoria, Melbourne, Australia. The Freedom Party of Victoria is pleased to announce the appointment of Leonie Blackwell as the new Deputy Leader of the party, following Aidan McClendon's resignation. State Leader Morgan Jonas expressed full support for this appointment and is confident that Leonie's leadership qualities will contribute to the party's growth and success. Former Deputy Leader Aidan McClendon has resigned from his position and is moving on to pursue other opportunities. The Freedom Party of Victoria wishes him the best of luck in his future endeavours and thanks him for his contributions to the party. Leonie is a long-standing community leader who has been an active member of the Freedom Party of Victoria since contesting the 2022 state election for the district of Narrabeen. She has demonstrated high-level leadership qualities that were ultimately reflected in her impressive primary vote. In her new role as Deputy Leader, Leonie will continue to work closely with the state leader to help guide the party and promote its core values of individual freedom, small government, and protecting Victorians' jobs, homes, and families. Leonie is highly deserving of this appointment, said Morgan. Her passion for our party's principles and commitment to serving the people of Victoria will make her an outstanding Deputy Leader. I am confident that with her leadership, we will continue to build a stronger and more effective force to oppose the Daniel Andrews Labor government. So a big thank you to Leonie. Make her feel welcome. I caught up with Leonie before for about 10 minutes, just for a bit of a chat. Take a look. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're very happy to be joined by the newly appointed Deputy Leader of the Freedom Party of Victoria, Leonie. Welcome to MCJ Report. So let me just start off by asking you, how are you feeling about the new role, the new appointment, and the trajectory of the future? A few questions in one.
Yes. Well, of course, it's a huge honour to be appointed the Deputy Leader and for us to be able to now work together and take the party in the direction, build it. You know, last year was our introduction to the political world, and now we get to stamp our foot on it and say, here we are, and this is what we are all about, and this is why people would want to get on board and follow us.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree with you more. And what are some of the things that you're looking forward to the most?
Oh, you mean apart from getting rid of Dan, replacing the Labor government, maybe holding the Liberal Party accountable, getting rid of John Pesutto, pretty much taking over Victoria and making it great again?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, let's do that. That would be fun. But, you know, in the meantime, of course, we're going to build branches. We're going to get our incredibly passionate and awesome supporters to be active. We want to show that the Freedom Party is there every day, not just on election day or not in the pre-selection, that you can get involved and get active. We can actually help the communities deal with issues, understand what to do with things. So we really want to be a real for the people, serving the people, and being what is truly what I believe politics is meant to be, as opposed to what they've turned it into, which is this incredibly corrupt, ego-driven system. I think we are here to say, let's do it the way it's meant to be. Let's bring humanity back to the table of politics.
I could not agree with you more. And you've raised a really good point, and that is that most political parties, or dare I say all political parties, apart from us, of course, once an election is over and done with, we see it time and time again. The candidates are discarded. The volunteers are basically kicked in the gutter. Now, as you know, Leonie, we have made a real effort here at Freedom Party of Victoria to not do that. We recognize that it's our members that make our party what it is. We have been engaging our members, and you have been doing a tremendous job engaging our members in the eastern region of Victoria. Could you talk a little bit about what your plans are and what you've been up to in Gippsland?
Yeah, for sure. So we did the launch of the Eastern region and the Narrabeen branch a couple of months ago, and the people who turned up to that were really keen to have these ideas of community forums. And we're having our first one on May 21st, which is only a week away, and it's in Warragul, and it's actually looking at bringing the timber industry, the hemp industry, and the bamboo industry all together to sit in one room and actually talk about what the industries are, what they offer, how they can value add to the services, the everyday necessities we have, from housing through to toilet paper, through to, you know, paper, furniture, etc. So we're really excited, and people are getting really, really excited to think that they can come and hear from the industry directly what they've got to offer, have the opportunity to ask questions. The things that you always wanted someone to ask, here's your opportunity. Turn up to this forum and ask them yourself, because that's what we want to do. Rather than pushing agendas, rather than trying to run a narrative, rather than trying to trick people into believing things, we want people to find out for themselves. And I think that's a foundational value that we at the Freedom Party hold. And that's why these community forums are already getting huge traction of people being really fascinated and interested that finally someone wants to treat them like they're mature adults, and that they can think, give them the information, and they can choose and they can ask questions. So we're really looking forward to it here in Warragul next weekend.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen at home, get out a pen and paper. The event will be taking place on Sunday, May 21st, from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Warrigal Goods Shed. Now, Leonie, have I got those details correct?
You have indeed, yes. So if people are interested to know, what we're going to do is give every industry the opportunity to talk and introduce themselves and explain what they do. And then there'll be a Q&A, and then there'll be an informal afternoon tea, chat to people later. So yeah, it's going to be great.
Excellent. And ladies and gentlemen, the details of this event are up on the screen right now. So feel free to attend, invite your friends, invite your family, and you can expect a lot more of these events to take place in the future. And this, without a doubt, I say, is one of our very important points of differences that we're putting on table with Freedom Party of Victoria. And of course, Leonie doing a phenomenal job. Now, Leonie, before we wrap things up today, just wanted to get your take on a little subject matter. Of course, we've seen the Liberal Party kick yet again another own goal. We thought that John Pesutto could not kick more own goals than what he has done, but it looks like they've gone ahead and done it again, this time voting a majority to expel Moira Deeming. Could I just get your thoughts and comments on that particular circumstance and where you see it all heading?
Yeah, I don't think the Liberal Party can blow themselves up more. I mean, you think every day, every week they do stuff, and you think they've hit the bottom. Surely they've hit the bottom, but they haven't. And now they've gone one step further by actually removing Moira completely from the Liberal Party, which I think is incredibly sad. She's a powerful, strong voice for women. We need those voices. I mean, as a woman, we are pretty shocked that all of what we've strived for decades to make sure that women can be respected and heard is just being disappeared just before our very eyes. We're watching women's rights disappear and our safety be violated, and Moira's a voice that's speaking for that. And to see them not only removing Moira but then punishing Renee, and John Pesutto trying to change the minutes so it suits his narrative. This is a Liberal Party in disarray, and it's really tragic. We need an opposition to stand against Labor, and we don't have it. So, I guess we see ourselves as Freedom Parties, even if it's not election time, it doesn't matter. We're still going to be the opposition from the outside and just keep poking them to make them stand up and be better representatives of the people that vote for them.
I could not agree with you more. And of course, when we look at John Pesutto, we do not see a leader, and we do not see an opposition force to the Daniel Andrews Labor government. So dare I say that Freedom Party Victoria, we are the opposition to Daniel Andrews and his cronies, and we will fight every single step of the way to oppose this terrible government and all the many injustices that have been inflicted upon the people. Now, one last thing, Leonie, and I like to ask this question to some people that join MCJ Report, and for everybody at home, you can absolutely be sure that you will be seeing a lot more of Leonie moving forward. If you were sitting in a room with Dan Andrews right now, what would you say to him?
Oh, wow. I would probably try and do my very best to get him to feel really bad about all the terrible things he's actually done. I think what I'd actually want to say, I can't repeat, because this is actually, we have to be respectful of children, because it'd probably be
family show,
blipped out. It's just blipped out a lot, because it would actually be really difficult to be in the same room and not want to literally just yell at him and go, what on earth makes you think this is an okay way to treat people? It's just, that would be the polite way. Obviously, I'd be saying it with a lot more other words in there, but you'd really want to just say, resign, give up now, and put yourself in handcuffs, admit all your faults, change all the laws that you've changed so you can get away with everything, and let us actually hold you accountable, which is a really wussy way for me to say.
No, that's good.
Something else.
Absolutely, and that's definitely putting it
circumstances
in a very diplomatic manner, and that's why you're phenomenal, Leonie, and that's why you're the deputy leader of Freedom Party of Victoria. Excellent stuff. I personally cannot wait to really get down to business. We have a lot of work to do, so Victorians can be sure that they've got a great management team in Freedom Party of Victoria. Forward we march. Leonie Blackwell, what an absolute pleasure to know you, to have you in this role, and we hope to have you back on the show really soon.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks, Morgan. It's great to be on the team with you.
Catch you soon. Alrighty, so once again, a big thank you to Aidan McClendon for everything that you have done during your time in Freedom Party. And a very warm welcome to Leonie Blackwell. So ladies and gentlemen, Freedom Party of Victoria in full effect. Lots and lots to look forward to in the very near future. So head on over to www.freedomparty.net.au, become a member today and join the action. Alrighty, where are we next? Unhinged violence hits Melbourne. Now, I've got a couple of clips I'll play for you in just a moment, but there was a rally that's right in Melbourne over the weekend. Lots of violent clashes. I've got a couple of clips from Rukshan that I'd like to play for you. It seems that Victoria Police, they haven't learnt their lesson, at least public order response. I'm going to show you first about a 2-minute clip of Rukshan, who many of you follow and love, and of course Rukshan showing great courage and bravery, really fronting these very violent protests. In the clip, you'll see Victoria Police trying to move Rukshan on for supposedly not being real media, which is a complete contradiction to the law. Okay, so here in Victoria, just to make it perfectly clear, you can film anywhere in public. You don't need to be employed by Channel 7 or 10. You can be literally anyone with a phone, and that is perfectly legal for you to film in public. We have a clip here of public order response clearly violating Rukshan's rights. Take a look.
Alright, sorry, man.
Right now.
Yeah.
Right back behind the police vendors there.
Yeah, I'll stay with the other media, man.
Right back behind
I'll stay with the other media.
I don't care.
I'll stay with the other media. I'm doing my job.
Where's your identification?
I don't need identification. I'm independent media.
I need your
You want my ID?
Yep.
What for?
Because I need to know you're from media.
I mean, I work for myself.
No,
I'm not doing this whole thing again. If you remove me from this space, there'll be legal consequences.
Sure. I've asked you
So
to leave,
I'm working.
I'm asking you to leave.
Why are you asking me to leave? Why not him?
Who do you work for?
I work for myself.
Okay, so you leave the area.
So people that work for themselves can't be here.
Leave the area.
People that work for themselves can't be here.
Identification.
I can show you my ID. I work for myself.
I'm just asking you to move on, please.
Why is this other media allowed here?
I'm talking to you. As
I'm
an
asking
individual.
you why the other media is allowed.
Because I'll talk
Why
to
are
you.
you picking on me?
I'm not picking on you.
Then why
I'm
is that?
asking you to leave.
Look, there's other people there with cameras that's filming.
I'm asking them to leave.
So why you tell me why you asked me to leave? I
I'm
don't leave.
asking you for your verification of your identification. as a media.
Have you got verification from them?
I'll go and ask them.
Are you telling me that you want identification from independent media?
Yes, to show that
I can show you my ID. I work for myself.
Yeah, well, I need some identification.
I can give you my ID.
Media.
I work for myself.
I'm asking you to leave.
Are you telling me in Australia
I'm telling
that people cannot work for themselves as a media
you
institution?
need some identification.
No,
to
I
show
don't.
That's what you do.
No, I don't.
Okay, no worries.
No, I don't.
I'm asking you to leave.
I don't need media.
Like these people, they
I don't
carry
need media.
passes.
I don't need to carry a media pass. I'm
Sure,
working.
No worries. I'm asking you to leave.
I'm working.
Right?
I'm,
Because you're mixing amongst both crowds. You're causing.
I'm in the middle
agitation.
here.
No, you weren't. You're in there.
because they're agitating me. You're telling me to leave from doing my job.
Because I'm asking you to move.
You're stopping me from doing my job.
Can I
Are you
see
sure?
identification, please?
I can show you my ID.
Please, please.
Yeah, sure.
Whilst someone recognised who you work, did you get some media accreditation? Contact the press media unit and ask them for that so that we know who you are and there's not going to be disputes.
no worries.
Right? Understand where I'm coming from?
no worries.
There's people in here that are potentially agitated. We're trying to make this a sterile area.
I know. I understand you're doing your job, man. It's okay. Thank you.
Probably just have it ready earlier, that's all.
Bro, it's
No one knows.
It's Australia, bro. I'm not in the bloody Gestapo, man.
Yeah, so you see Victoria Police clearly not learning their lesson, clearly not either understanding the law or choosing to, as Rukshan put it, to pick on him. That's right. Now, I've got another clip here. It goes for about 6 minutes. More footage courtesy of Rukshan. So, Rukshan, thank you very much for doing what you do. The next clip might be a little bit frustrating to see, but I feel that it's important for people to understand the types of unsavory characters that are lurking within the streets of Melbourne, take a look.
Join the other side. You're welcome over there, man. You're not welcome here.
Isn't this a pro-immigration protest? Are you guys pro-immigration or not?
Nazi scum! Nazi scum! Nazis are not! Migrants are welcome! Nazis are not! I want you to be safe.
I'm not scared of you. Don't fucking
Migrants are welcome!
read your signs, man. Read your signs. Think about what you guys are doing.
What are you scared of medicine for, you coward?
I'm not a coward, man.
Yeah, buddy! Woo! Say hang your vehicle, please, here!
He's not radio. He's one of them.
I was there filming. These people were calling me a Nazi. They were telling me to go to the other side with the Nazis, where, you know, as much as they might believe in their feeble minds that for some reason that a Sri Lankan Australian would be welcome and embraced by these groups, they're kidding themselves. They're actually ideologically so engrossed in their own nonsense that they think this stuff is true. They think that people like us, right, people that look like me, agree with those ideas because we have, you know, different political views.
How do you feel about the Nazis, Richard? Do you think I like them now? What do you think?
I want to know.
Why do you say that? Bullshit, man.
I want to know what you think, Richard.
Bullshit. Why would a Sri Lankan support Nazis?
I don't know, you tell me.
I don't support this shit, whatever this is. Don't touch me.
One of the terms I heard used a few times to describe me today was a race traitor. So their whole perception around people like me is that if I don't agree with them, okay, and this is, I'm talking to all migrants, especially of migrants of color in Australia, the far left, okay, the far right extreme neo-Nazis might say you're not welcome in this country, but the far left, they'll welcome you into this country. They'll tell you, hey, come, we welcome all refugees, all this kind of stuff, and it sounds great. But what they won't tell you, okay, until they have to tell you, which is what they're telling me, is that if you do not agree with them 100% on their ideological standpoints, that you are a race traitor.
Oi! You're on the wrong side of the line, dickhead! What are you doing over here? Nazis are not welcome here! Oi! You're on the wrong side, you dickhead! Look at him! He's a filthy little pork supporter! He's a filthy little infractor! What are you scared of medicine for, you coward?
I'm not a coward, man.
Yeah, buddy! Woo! Fuck you and your live stream followers!
Yeah. Read your signs, man. Read your signs. Think about what you guys are doing. Anti-immigration.
Say hang your vehicle, please, here!
Who's anti-immigration? Who's anti-immigration? Who are the racists? Who are the racists?
Now, I'm not going to discount the fact that they can speak up for immigrants or they can speak up for refugees. I kind of get all of those things, but their belief is that if you don't agree with them, okay, you are also a Nazi. And that's not going to work. And that's not going to fly. And, you know, these scenes where, you know, I'm being surrounded by these people, being harassed, pushed around, just garbage, right? It's just garbage stuff. They're telling the police to get rid of me because I'm a Nazi or a race traitor, all this type of stuff.
I'm working. Why are you calling me a moron? Why? They're anti-immigration. They're not racist. Why do you want to attack me? I'm safe. I'm not scared of it. I'm not scared of it.
Nazis are not welcome here!
racist, sexist, anti-queer.
They hit RV Yemeni from Rebel News with a pole. Okay, this is Antifa, the far left, hit him with a pole. Okay, they attacked his cameraman. The truth matters, and the truth is that the violence that we're seeing on the streets right now, even though these extremists are there doing their salutes and doing all sorts of stuff that might be making people uncomfortable, the violence really is coming from the far left, and we can't escape that. As of right now, it's coming from the far left, and I'm seeing that firsthand. And I think if you're watching full coverage of these events, especially via live streams, you would be seeing that firsthand as well. And whether you want to get into ideological debate or not is something totally different to the reality of what's happening.
Yeah, so good on you, Rukshan, for going in there and not backing down from these people. And what really struck me from the footage is you see these protesters following Rukshan around like they're a bunch of feral animals just trying to basically pack hunt, exuding the perception of strength in numbers, but individually I'd say that these people are very weak. And it's really pathetic, isn't it, to see just that pack mentality of let's be violent because there's so many of us. But I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, that is not strength. That is absolute cowardice. Rukshan did a great job. And I caught up with somebody who had a front row seat to all the violence and everything that took place. I think that you will know who he is, actually. His name is Daniel Jones. He is a expert bodyguard of a very, very high level. He is an expert in martial arts and self-defense and a very high level expert in security. He also works as RV Yemeni's bodyguard. I'm sure you've seen Daniel in many, many clips. And I caught up with Daniel for about 15 minutes a little bit earlier today just to get a bit of a recap on the events, the day, the violence. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Daniel. So let me just open that up for you. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Just bear with me. All right, here's Daniel Jones. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are very happy, proud, and humbled to be joined by the one and only bodyguard extraordinaire, Daniel Jones. Daniel, welcome back to MCJ Report. You've made a few appearances on the show over the years. Of course, we always love hearing from you. Now, most people are aware by now because they've seen the footage from yesterday, the events that took place in the city. Things seem to get very violent. You were there. You were on the front line, diffusing many situations. I observed several assaults directed not just at you, but your client as well. Could you please just tell us from your perspective, mate, what happened?
Firstly, thank you for having me back on. Always a pleasure to be back on the MCJ Report and to see you. Look, yesterday what happened, from what I've seen, is you had a collection of extremist left-wing groups who had shown up to counter-rally the National Socialist Network, an extremist right-wing sort of group. And, yeah, that was made up of well-known groups with well-known left-wing extremists from the Campaign Against Racism and Fascism, Socialist Alternative, a few other motley crew of groups who are well known for inciting violence, agitation, and wanting to be aggressive to get their point across and to silence other people. So one of the first things we noticed was, there was banners with Queers Bash Back. So quite obviously from the word go, they had violence on their mind, and you could feel it in the air that it felt really different. By virtue of the sign, my worry straight off the bat was the perpetration of a victim mentality. I mean, you haven't had an epidemic of severe bashings of people over sexual orientations or anything since maybe the late 80s, early 90s. But they're painting this victim mentality like it's happening all the time. And the violent rhetoric of, holding signs like we're going to bash back. And another point was, which I really want to highlight, not that I endorse neo-Nazism or Nazis or the National Socialist Network. I certainly don't agree with their behaviours or some of their behaviours and their extreme views. But what I witnessed personally was the Antifa groups and the left-wing extremists had actually, once the police marched the National Socialist Network group off, that the far left-wing groups had actually chased them down with the police, slashed their tyres so they couldn't get away, and kept trying to block them off so that the National Socialist Network couldn't leave. They were eager for a fight. They were itching for a fight. They were doing everything they could to make sure that they could get it. In regards to my principal, myself, and our working crew, we unfortunately were attacked, aggravated assault with a flagpole. Again, it come down to these groups with violent intentions. They don't want to hear opposing point of views. Now, they've got groups where they set up proxy research groups like the White Rose Society, Slack Bastard, and then you've got other people like extremists like the Tom Tanuki and other ones who perpetrate these ideas without knowing who people are or what they really believe or what they think, but perpetrating people as Nazis even when they're not, which you can see with my principal. They do that very much with him. And they take odd little bits that have happened, trying to string it together to create a narrative and a story of anyone who disagrees with them as being wrong, evil, or a Nazi. And in this case, where my client was trying to do his job, it was assaulted, aggravated assault with a flagpole because, like I said, they were just there for aggression. They weren't there to talk. They weren't really there to counter rally. They were there to fight. They were there to hurt people and to shut down any discourse whatsoever.
All right. So I'll just interject if that's all right, Daniel. So a lot of people have seen the footage, of course, of Avi getting hit on the head with a pole, but my understanding is that there were also other instances, I believe, that I'm not sure if you saw this, but Rukshan, who was there in an independent media capacity, he was shoved and pushed and people trying to do unwelcomed things to his camera equipment. I believe that somebody made contact with you. It looked really wild. Could you tell us about some of the other instances of assault where this crowd put their hands on you or made physical contact in a unwarranted manner?
Yep. Well, Rukshan, I didn't see personally. After the event, we did catch back up with Rukshan, and I did get to view some of the footage later on after the fact. He was definitely manhandled a bit. Like I said earlier, they had no intentions of discourse or listening to anyone. They've already set up their preconceived notion. And there's violent rhetoric now. Their new violent rhetoric is to call everybody collaborators, which is another extreme up. So if they can't take you in with a Nazi, you're now a collaborator of a Nazi. And you can see where this is heading. And which I found rather ironic given Rukshan's heritage and his parents' heritage coming from Sri Lanka. And they claim to be there for immigration or pro-immigration, and they're attacking a son of an immigrant, which is oddly strange. But, unfortunately, Rukshan was pushed around. I know Benji, cameraman for Rebel News, at one stage was bear-hugged. I personally went to go try grab the offender to place him under arrest, who had assaulted someone with aggravated assault with a weapon. And for those efforts, I was also attacked by the violent mob. So, it is what it is. Like I said, they were out for a fight this day.
Absolutely. And I just want to commend you, Daniel, on maintaining such professional control over the situation, and in such a greatly volatile environment, you've got potential threats from 365 degrees. How do you deal with that?
Look, it's difficult. It is very difficult. Like you say, it is 360 degrees.
360, yeah.
360. It is 360 degrees. Sorry,
I said
you can't be everywhere
right.
at once. You can't be looking everywhere at once. So you're really trying to scan for immediate threats, proximity of threats, what's closest. You're looking at pre-threat indicators, body language. Unfortunately, my principal was hit. One got through the net, but as to when you're trying to protect the equipment as well, and what these extreme left-wing agitators tend to do is they all group in. Then they try cover the cameras, mess with the equipment. And when you're surrounded, like we were when the attack happened, and they sort of start to surround you, then you're trying to deal with multiple people. And what happened with the attack was the guy had actually come from behind other people, if you look closely at the footage, and he's come over his own people and smacked with the flagpole. And then that's where you see me go to try grab him to effect an arrest, and he scuttles right back into the crowd for protection. And that's where the rest of the crowd then just sort of swoop in and attack whoever they can grab.
It's pretty concerning. Where do you see this all heading?
Look, I think if rhetoric continues on both sides, if groups, I mean, like I say, I certainly don't personally endorse Nazis. I don't endorse neo-Nazism or any particular one group. But if we can't allow discourse between groups to at least try find some sort of solution, unfortunately, if we cannot find that sort of solution, or at least listen to each other, when you're dealing with the polar opposites, the extreme ends of both groups, unfortunately, at the moment, it just looks like it's going to keep ending in violence until. And the worry is that I see that it's just going to keep getting more and more violent. As one group, the extreme left, sort of hell-bent on violence. They're hell-bent on stopping anybody they perceive as being a Nazi or a collaborator. And I unfortunately have to say, I only foresee it getting more and more aggressive and violent unless something happens. And the worry is that somebody will eventually end up seriously hurt, which obviously nobody wants.
Yeah.
Well,
it's very dangerous language as well when you think about it. I've got strong suspicion to believe that it was the Premier that referred to my party, the Freedom Party of Victoria, supposedly having Nazis in it. He didn't call us by name, but putting us dead last on all the Labor how to vote cards sent a pretty clear indication of who he was likely referring to without any evidence. And of course, just like yourself, Daniel Jones, I do not subscribe or believe in that ideology whatsoever, but we see this blanket use of the word that I think is really just designed to, whip up hatred. And obviously there are people out there that genuinely hold those views, which, obviously needless to say, you and I, we don't agree with it. I mean, look at the symbol in your self-defense business there, and that tells you that Daniel Jones is a man of all different people. Now, Daniel, I think that in this day and age, it's very important that common men and women have at least some degree of skills to defend themselves in a situation, or to have verbal skills to diffuse situations or delay something from happening. You, my friend, are a high-level expert in the field, and you conduct training in this area. How can people get in touch with you if they would like to learn self-defense, improve self-defense, or acquire skills in that arena for effectively protecting themselves?
Our main port of call is either through our website, tacticalforcecombatives.com.au, or through our Facebook page, Tactical Force Combatives is where we're most active. So if anyone shoots us through an email or a messenger message through the Facebook, we get back in contact with them pretty quickly.
Excellent stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to learn from the best in the business, it's tacticalforcecombatives.com.au. Go and get in touch with Daniel and the team. Get some skills. It's a highly volatile space of which we're living in at the moment, and you will learn. You will learn the basics of what you need, all the way through to whatever level you want to take it. If you want to train to an expert level, then Daniel can get you there as well. Now, Daniel, I'd like to thank you for jumping on the show. I'm glad that you and Avi and Ben and Rukshan were not seriously injured. And it's concerning to think where this is all heading. But, mate, keep up the great work. We need more like you. And we may have to see a team of whole teams going out in the future if things continue to escalate. What do you think?
Well, funny you should mention that, because you'll notice that the extreme left groups are highly, highly organised, and they actually do have spotter groups out of the peripheries. And I know this because I did a bit of forward reconnaissance before we even went in there, and very quickly I was picked up and followed back to my car by a few people who you can see were on the phones already relaying messages into the group. You see they have their legal observer groups set up that wander around, and they're sort of quasi-security protection groups as well, that anyone they see that they don't agree with, they get in and they're all on them pretty quickly, trying to push them out. So I think for individuals to stay safe, having some de-escalation skills, conflict management skills, and some physical skills to manage physical violence to keep themselves safe is quite important. I think in the future, certainly you can learn a lot from people. And looking at the extreme left, we can certainly learn a lot about security measures for keeping other protests that other people want to hold safer, making it a safer space so that people don't get assaulted and hurt and bullied out of not being able to have their say or to turn up anywhere even.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, head on over to tacticalforcecombatives.com.au. Get in touch with Daniel and the team. Daniel, hope to have you back on the show really soon.
Thank you for having me, Morgan. Once again, as always a pleasure.
Pleasure's mine. Take care. All right, a massive thank you to Daniel Jones for spending the time to explain these details to us here on MCJ Report. And once again, for everybody listening at home, if you would like to learn how to defend yourself, head on over to www.tacticalforcecombatives.com.au. Get in touch with Daniel and the team, and he will, without any doubt, sort you out. Alrighty, so ladies and gentlemen, that just about brings us to the end of the show. Now, once again, MCJ Report can only survive due to our members. That's right. So if you'd like to support the show so that I can proceed with my work here on MCJ Report and in my capacity as State Leader of Freedom Party of Victoria, then head on over to mcjreport.com. The link is in the description of this video. You can become a member from just $5 per month. Once you do so, you'll be sent the special members emails. You'll be invited to special events, and there's a few other bits and pieces as well. And you will be investing in MCJ Report. So if you'd like to support, the link is in the description of this video. Alrighty, so that just about brings us to the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. We can see Daniel there in the chat. How are you going? Here's a little bit of a fun fact for you. Daniel and I have been mates for many years prior to the inception of the boogeyman. That's right. Prior to COVID-19, Daniel and I, we've been mates for several years. So, a bit of a fun fact for you at home. There's Nikki there. How you going, Nikki? Good to see you, as always. There's Betty. Always great when you're on board. And Harps is saying that we have the same skill. Interesting. Well, do you care to elaborate? Maybe you shouldn't do that. There's Jessica Marie in the chat. Thank you very much for being here. Jessica, one of our members. Thank you. There's Judy B. Of course, Judy has been on board for a long time. And Judy was supporting my work back from 2019 when I first said, all right, I'm going to go and put my face out there and protest against Daniel Andrews and this terrible disaster of a relationship that he was forming with the Chinese Communist Party, that he continues to push forward with, of course. There's Dominic there. Great to see you. There is Stafura. I think I said your name right. It's great to have you on board. There's Sue. How's things? Fernando, how you going? It's great to see you. Steve, always a pleasure. If you have any questions for your buddy Morgan, then feel free to put it in the chat. Tactical Force Combative saying the most genuine, integral, and honest person I know. Thank you very much, Daniel Jones. That is very, very kind of you to say. A very, very nice compliment. And let me say right back at you, brother. Tell you what, if Daniel Jones is your friend, if he is in your corner, then you are absolutely in a phenomenal position. Great guy, super loyal, great mate. Thank you, Daniel Jones. Let me just go over to Rumble. We've got the Rumble crowd ticking along as always. We've got the Rumble crew. There's Purple. How you going? Purple from Queensland, DW. And also a warm welcome to our friends internationally. If you're watching from overseas, then go ahead and put your country in the comments. I know that we have a few of our American brothers and sisters that like to watch the show. So let me know what state and country you're tuned in from if you're not watching from Australia. DW said that they're like zombies in regards to the leftist protesters. Well, they really are. It's a pack mentality, and they pack hunt. And, you know, I don't think these people would be violent or aggressive if they're on their own. It really just shows such a weak character to gang up on Rukshan the way that they did. Just absolutely disgusting. And yeah, you know, they'll label anyone a quote Nazi who has a different viewpoint as opposed to them. It's, you know, there's no IQ, there's no thinking when it comes to how these people behave, and it's pathetic. You know, it's pathetic, but I guess they're part of Victoria. Hey, there's AW4. There's Marianne Fleming. How you going? From good old Frankston. That's right. There's a bit of an MCJ crowd in Frankston. I love Frankston. Lots of great shops. Lots of good cafes. Great people in Frankston. And that is, of course, where I found the man known as Dan Andrews on the streets of Frankston. And Dan Andrews, if you're listening, it's just a matter of time before we meet again. It's going to happen. Let me go back to the other chat. Jessica says that... I just read another comment. Jessica says that the Freedom Party is so refreshing and full of inspiring and hardworking people, and you're excited to be a member of the Freedom Party. Thank you, Jessica. The Freedom Party is excited to have you as a member, and of course, I speak on behalf of management when I say that we're looking forward to pushing forward together. That's right, and we will embrace whatever challenges come our way, because the ultimate satisfaction in life, ladies and gentlemen, it is in the journey, not actually in the destination. So you got to love the journey and love the struggle and love the battle. Ray Lee says that you received a friend request from me, but you were not sure if it was me. No, it wasn't me. It absolutely was not me. All right, so usually there's like a hyphen in the name, but if you're unsure whether it's me or not, all you need to do is click on the name of that person, go to their profile, and look at how many people follow their page. All right, so my page has 102,000 followers. If it does not have that on Facebook, then it's not me. And don't get sucked in, because a lot of the time these fake profiles are trying to scam you out of money, okay? And no, I'm not offering prizes. I'm not randomly giving people $1,000. I mean, I wish I was, if I had that sort of money to just hand out. I don't. And do not get sucked in, please. And there's Tony saying, send in Jackie Chan and see what happens. Rayleigh, no worries. My pleasure. I've been getting a lot of messages lately. Messages, emails. Morgan, I got a friend request. Morgan, did you send me a message? If it does, tell you what. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. if it walks like a bully, acts like a little man with a big ego, it's John Pesutto. There's my attempt at humor for the night, ladies and gentlemen. But I feel like he deserves it, I feel like John Pesutto should probably, be the butt of many people's jokes for a long time. I don't like bullies. Never have. I see traces of Dan Andrews in John Pesutto. I don't like it. And you got to just say it how it is. And I know that there are so many Liberal members and voters who agree with me. You know that you do. There's lots of good people in the Liberal Party. All right, let me just say that, all right. First of all, a lot of the members, a lot of the people who vote Liberal, and some of the members of Parliament, they are good people. The delegates, I know a lot of them. They're great. And they have a real vision to steer the Liberal Party back in, let's just say, the right direction. I respect that. I really, really do. It's just a shame when you've got this, little sort of Danny DeVito type character just, trying to throw his weight around in Parliament, and, he seems to have a thing for picking on conservative women. It's just really makes you feel so embarrassed of the state of opposition in this country in terms of the, quote, official opposition, the Liberal Party. But that's where we come in. Ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Freedom Party of Victoria, freedomparty.net.au. Get on board. There is Steve there. Steve Bickerton, how you going? How's the plans for the casino coming along? So, what Steve is talking about is a concept proposed over a decade ago in the Queensland Parliament by Aidan McLindon. That's right, our former deputy leader. And it was a topic that we revisited during the election last year. So it goes along the lines of this, and tell me what you think about it. I think that it's fantastic. So the way it works is every pokies machine has a license registration number. So what you do is you gather all the license registration numbers, you reallocate every registered pokie machine to a designated gambling destination. All right. So for argument's sake, let's just say that we allocate Mildura as a gambling destination, and Mildura becomes the new Las Vegas of Australia. All right. Doesn't have to be Mildura. That was just the first regional centre that came to my mind. So what you have is a situation whereby pokies machines and gambling is only legal in this scenario, Mildura. And that creates what's referred to as destination gambling, right? It's the reason why people go to Las Vegas. Not solely for the gambling, but for the holiday experience. You go and see a show, you go to some restaurants, you go and you blow $500 on the tables, you have a holiday, you have a good time, you go home, you get back to work. And that, in my opinion, is what gambling should be. Gambling should be just having some fun with it, I've got a budget. I'm going to go and spend $100, $200. If I happen to win, great. But I'm prepared to lose this money as an expense of having fun, right? China has benefited greatly from this concept, destination gambling, by establishing the gambling city of Macau. All right, so for the most part, gambling is illegal in China. So what do Chinese people do who have the means and capability to gamble? Well, they take a holiday, they go to Macau, they visit the Sands Casino, they visit the Wynn, they have, all the big casino franchises. Macau is basically a replica of Las Vegas, probably a bit nicer, actually. I've been to Macau, and I have to say that it is, and I've been to Las Vegas. Macau is in better shape than Las Vegas. And families and business people travel to Macau, they have some fun, they see a show, they gamble, they go home. And I would love to see that in Australia. If we could have an Australian version of Las Vegas and get rid of these pokies machines out of our RSLs, out of our clubs, I'd be a very happy person. I'm sure that you probably agree with me that if you walk into a pokies venue at 12 at night, 2 in the morning, the types of people you see on these machines, you can tell by looking at these people that they cannot afford to be putting their money down the pokies machines. I consider it a predatory industry. I don't like it. I think that it preys on innate human vulnerabilities. I'd put the pokies industry really in the same category as the heroin industry. I don't like it. And destination gambling is the solution. But not only is destination gambling a solution to our pokies crisis, it also opens up further opportunities for our economy, such as jobs, such as attracting investment, attracting tourism, not just domestically, but internationally. And I say that as a country, we have everything to gain from destination gambling and absolutely nothing to lose. And that's my pitch. So if you'd like to invest $50 billion upwards in this project, then email Morgan at mcjreport.com. That's my sales pitch. Let's see. There's Steve. Steve, there you go. I think Steve wanted the sales pitch. So Steve Bickerton, you asked for the sales pitch. You got it. Tony says all the Libs need to do is get back to conservative values and it's game over. Seeing as they won't, Freedom Party will. That's right. Steve says French Islands. There's an idea. That's not bad. I don't mind that. So put in the comments, do you like the idea of destination gambling? Would you like to see the doing away with all pokies machines to be relocated to a Australian version of Las Vegas? Put your thoughts in the comments and let me know what you think about it. And if so, where would you like it to be? Do you think that far north Queensland, do you think there should be a gambling destination up there? Do you think it should be Mildura? Do you think it should be French Island? I mean, do you think it should be in the middle of the Northern Territory? Should there be a special taxation zone for this gambling destination so that casinos and other businesses can keep more of what they earn in order to grow those industries and to attract further investment and create more jobs? Do you think that's something that we should do? This is the type of thinking that I really believe that we need in Australia. You know, I get really put off by small level thinking in terms of politicians that are only interested in securing their seats for the next election. I say that Australia should be a superpower. We should think big. We should be an economy that can rival any of the world's top economies with a military fighting force to match. And I believe that we can get there. It just requires leadership with vision. We need a 100-year plan in Australia. You know, not these politicians that are thinking, 3 years ahead just to try and scrounge up enough members for their pre-selection. You know, some of the Liberal members of Parliament are so desperate that I've heard that as a means of securing their pre-selection, they would literally get elderly people out of hospital who are, all but on life support down to their Liberal branch to vote the pre-selection. And an absolute joke. I think that I'm going to say that within 3 years, and this is a big one, let's just say 4 years, I think there's a good chance that the Freedom Party of Victoria can have more members than the Victorian Liberal Party. If anyone would like to challenge me to that, I'd be very inclined to accept that challenge. I think that I think we can do it. I do. I'd be lying to you if I thought we couldn't do it. Anyway, feel free to put some other thoughts in the comments. It's been a bit of a long show this evening, nearly 2 hours. 2 hours worth of MCJ Report value. And I tell you what, it's not even your birthday today, but happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there. Lunabelle says it was a great chat with Daniel. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. AW4A said it was an entertaining and informative show. Marianne likes the idea about the casino. Purple is happy. I'm glad that you're happy. Van Pressa says that, yeah, I know what you mean. Tony Kovac says he loves the hat. Well, hope to see one on you, my friend. Tony Kovac, of course, fellow Freedom Party of Victoria, representing the Western region. That's right. So you can expect to be seeing more of Tony Kovac, the CEO and founder of FATV Jerky. So head on over to fatvjerky.com.au and go and get what I would describe as the best and most tasty beef jerky in Australia, produced by a great man. fatvjerky.com.au, and I'm not even getting paid for this plug. So there you go. There you go. The MCJ Report, the show that just keeps on giving. Thank you, Jessica Marie. That is very lovely of you to say that. The Little Desert Hotel was for sale. What is the Little Desert Hotel? Is this something that I should be Googling, Steve? Let me see. Where is this? Is this Australia? All right. Little Desert Hotel. You want to know what that's all about? Bit of impromptu MCJ report. This is coming from realcommercial.com.au. All right. And I am not receiving commission from this company either. 6,163 Western Highway, Kiata, Victoria 3418. Hotel, motel, and leisure. Little Desert Hotel. I like it. Looks like the beginning of a scene from a scary movie. It's got a nice pool table in there. You know, relax, get a drink. Got the Australian flag. Who doesn't love the flag? Well, I guess there's a few people, but that's all right. From what I can see, a Canadian flag. You know, it's bare bones, but it doesn't look that great. All right, let's face it. Someone needs to buy this place and make something of it. Anyway, I can't pretend that I like what I see there. But thanks for that, Steve. Yeah, if anyone else has any final questions, then go ahead. Marianne says that we need leadership. Too many people waffle a lot and have nothing to show for it. That's right. We don't need more waffling in Australia, do we, ladies and gentlemen? Purple says you love the hat. I'm glad that you love it. We need to restock on Freedom Party of Victoria hats. The hats were a big success. You know what? Everybody loves a good hat. It's impossible to dislike a good hat. Purple says, have I tried Jimmy's jerky? That's a good question. And the truth is I wouldn't dare because Tony would be... I wouldn't want to make Tony upset from FATV jerky. So... Oh, that's funny. There's Aussie Banquet saying Gold Coast already has the infrastructure for destination gambling. So just set it up in Gold Coast. And you know what? Let's just transform Gold Coast into a casino city as well. I mean, it's basically already there. What else do we have? Let me just go back to Facebook. Okay, these trolls keep trying to get people to join these Telegram groups, claiming that it's all to help the unvaccinated. It's all spam. It's all rubbish. And these people are getting kicked out of MCJ Report. Get out of here. Gone. Gone to the dustbin of history, which is exactly where Dan Andrews belongs. And a few others as well. There's Tony Kovac. What a great man. Betty said that you enjoyed it. Steve says make a good casino. Yeah. We need it. I say that we need it. Australia needs something big. We need something to be excited about again. We need something that's going to attract tourism. We need to be bold. And we need to be willing to risk offending people, don't we? Andrew Philippopoulos, our man from Mill Park, the man who achieved the highest primary vote in Freedom Party of Victoria, over 7% in a massively red district of Mill Park. Andrew Philippopoulos, a management member from Freedom Party. Great to see you here, my man. We have a lot of work to do, Andrew. We have a lot of work to do. It's going to be fun. What I respect about Andrew is he shoots from the hip. Alrighty. Well, I think that probably just about wraps it up for this evening. If you'd like to support the show, go to mcjreport.com, click on memberships. The link is in the description of this video. Until then, signing out. I'll see you soon. And always remember to keep fighting, never give up, and never say die. Good night.